Hey Ron, it's William with Scamming Scammers Action. We're doing our June 2018 live Q&A from Facebook. I'd like to thank everyone who's joining us. We're going to try to get through as many questions as possible. We've had a lot of you ask a lot of questions, so we're going to try to cover as much as we can. If you missed the live Q&A because you're busy or in another country or just don't want to sit here, you can always check it out later on our YouTube channel, Scamming Scammers, and we'll upload that later tonight. All right, we're going to get started in a minute here. I'm just letting a couple people join in. So I want to thank everyone again and hope that you are having a great first day of summer for those of you on my side of the world, and hope that our Australian friends and things like that are not freezing to death. All right, so we're going to start. We've had a lot of people write in and ask a lot of different questions, and we're going to try to, like I said, cover as many as possible. The first question that was asked was from a lady who came to our inbox yesterday, and she wrote the following. She said, I was scammed in excess of $20,000 by a West African who currently lives in South Africa. Although I employed an experienced and registered PI who produced a video of the scammer heading towards an ATM within the first few days of their appointment, they have met with a bottleneck in dealing with the South African police and are unable, therefore, to effect a sting operation to arrest the scammer. The police in South Africa are either not familiar with the extent of romance scams in their country or simply have other priorities. I have photos, fraudulently produced IDs, documents, signed promissory notes, and bank account numbers of the scammer or a mule, and copies of all the text. My question is this. In light of an ineffectual response from local South African police, is there anything I can do internationally to get this guy reported and or arrested? And that's a great question, and we have a lot of victims come to us and they'll say, I have the information, I have a photo of the scammer, I have his bank account, why can't he be arrested? There's a short and a long answer to it. One of the answers would be a lot of these countries have a lot of corruption. You know, if you have a scammer that lives in Nigeria and is scamming out of Nigeria, a lot of those police, a lot of the law enforcement there look the other way. They see scamming as a job. Some scammers are even police officers. So it depends on the country you live in. South Africa, again, it's one of those countries that they have priorities, and their priorities are definitely not romance scams. They have other issues, terrorism and political issues and things that they're dealing with. And the last thing they're going to want to kind of go through is dealing with a romance scam. And it can be a taboo subject for many. Many law enforcement in many countries look at romance scam and kind of laugh at it. And they think, well, you're stupid, you sent money. And through education, through reaching more victims, we're hoping that, you know, law enforcement does take it seriously. But unfortunately, a lot of those countries, especially South Africa, they don't see it as a crime in many aspects, or they don't have the time to address it. My advice to you would be to go to Interpol. You know, there's a place on Interpol's website. We can leave a link on our page later tonight. You can upload your documents information and at least get it out there to Interpol. They've had some successful arrests of scammers depending on the amount of scamming they've done and the priorities. So that would be my advice to you. But, you know, again, if you're a victim of a romance scam, don't expect your scammer to be arrested, even if you have his address. A lot of times, you know, it just falls on deaf ears. Or you can make a report if you're in the United States at ic3.gov, but please don't expect that the next day or the next week that your scammer is going to be arrested and photographed and put on the news, because it simply is not going to happen. The only way we can prevent these scams and prevent scammers from taking a victim's money is to not send money in the first place and to become educated about romance scams so that it doesn't happen to you in the future or a friend or relative. So I'm sorry that happened to you, and unfortunately, South African police, along with a lot of other countries, just their priorities are not romance scams. All right. So our next question we have, and I'm going to try to reach a lot of people that are in the inbox as well, or in our chat. I want to say hi to everybody and thank you for all the great wishes. Hello. We're going to try to answer the ones that are in the chat box as well. Just kind of bear with me because there is a lot of stuff going on. Our next question is from Barbara. And hello, Barbara. She asked, why do they want Amazon cards and what do they do with them? They do. They're asking for Amazon cards more and more. A lot of scammers, there's a couple things they can do with them. If you give a scammer an Amazon card, give them the number on the back, you buy them a $100 card, they can take that card to groups on Facebook that scammers will trade these cards for currency, for other goods. They can go on a website such as Zeek.com and trade that card in for cash. They can get the cash through PayPal. They can use those cards and buy goods and have them shipped to their house. They can buy goods for other victims and say, honey, I bought you a nice ring, some nice jewelry, and use your $100 to buy jewelry for another victim who they think they're going to get more money off of if they give them a gift. So there's a lot of things they do with them. But keep in mind, iTunes cards, Amazon gift cards, even something as silly as a pizza delivery gift card is worth money to a scammer because they can reuse those cards, recycle them, use them for different things, and they use them to victimize other victims. So if anyone's asking you for an Amazon card, if they're asking you for an iTunes card, if they're asking you for any kind of gift cards, block that person. Military men don't need iTunes cards to operate their phones while abroad. They don't need any of that stuff while they're deployed. So if anyone's asking you for those kind of things, just block them. Don't even second guess it. Just block that person because 100% it is a scammer. All right. So we've got another couple of questions. Hello to everybody in the inbox. Thank you. Thank you so much. And you're right. Every day there are more and more scammers. They're going all over the place, and they're in every known social media aspect there is. So our next question is from Carol. Hi, Carol. I'm talking with a man online who told me that his company needs to fix a machine. He wants to borrow $1,500 from me. He says he works for Chevron and will pay me back. Is this a scam? Absolutely, it is a scam. Block him right now. Don't even bother with responding. We've covered this before a few times, and I'll say it again. Anyone that works for Chevron, Shell, any major oil companies are billion-dollar companies. They have lots of money. They pay people very well. They don't need a stranger off of Facebook or off a dating site to purchase them any kind of equipment or pay for shipping or pay for or insurance or anything if a worker's injured, any of that stuff. Anyone that tells you that they need money for a broken pipeline, a broken piece of equipment, my workers were injured, I need money or I'm going to go to jail, it's a scam. It's totally a scam. You need to block the person. Legit people that work for oil companies, legit people that work for various companies don't need your money. And especially someone that comes across as a businessman, an executive who travels the world, they don't need your money. They have insurance. They have, and even executives that travel have petty cash. They have credit cards in the company name. They don't need your money. So just block them. Yes, you're being scammed. Block them, move on. Don't say nothing to the person. Just block them. All right. And hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. The next question we have is from Frida. And she asks, greetings from Germany. Is there a site more dangerous than another for scammers? Which dating site has the fewest scammers? It's a great question. There is no dating site that is scammer-free. From eHarmony to Our Time to Match to Facebook to Plenty of Fish, there are scammers on every site. There is no site that is safe. In fact, I'm going to tell you, a pay site, you're likely to run into a more sophisticated scammer than you would on a free site. Because on a pay site like eHarmony, that scammer has already taken someone's stolen credit card number and used that to pay for a membership. So you're going to get a different level, a different element of scammers. You're going to get one that is potentially better educated, good at carding, good at money fraud, laundering, wire fraud. So no, there's no sites that are safe. There's nowhere that you can go that is absolutely scammer free. But don't let that detour you from joining a dating site. Just have the knowledge, the power, know to look for the red flags, know that if someone asks you for gift cards, money, open a bank account. Do you have a bank account? Just walk away and block them. Don't even question yourself. Just block them. Any legit person is not going to ask you for money. They're not going to ask you what your bank account number is, and they're certainly not going to ask you for you to open a bank account. So, like I said, all sites have scammers. Just beware. be safe and beware, and that's the best thing you can do. And just keep that in mind. Jenny asked a question: why do so many dating site scammers ask me how long I've been on the dating site? Legit, people never ask. They do ask that, don't they? They do. They say, dear, how long have you been on the site, and what are you looking for? A lot of them, it depends. They're trying to size you up to see, have you been in previous relationships on the site? Have you been scammed before? What have you encountered since you've been on there? Some of them will ask you, have you been online a long time? Have you been on the site a long time? They're trying to size you up. What's your experience? They want to know, where you've been, what you've been through. They want to see, well, they would love a victim who's brand new. I'm new to Plenty of Fish. It's my first time joining. I don't even know how to work the site. That is a scammer's gold mine, because they're going to say, here is someone that doesn't know. They're going to ask for money. They're going to ask for gift cards. They're going to want to know who you are, and that kind of thing. That's what they do. They look for people that are uneducated towards romance scams, that are not so tech savvy with websites and dating sites, and then they can get the money from you. But if they encounter someone that says, oh, I've been on the site for 2 years, my God, I've met 5 Army captains, I've met 6 oil rig guys, 3 guys asked me for money, they're going to run away from you, because they know you have experience and they know that you can read through their BS pretty much. So that's kind of why they ask. It's at least one of the reasons why they ask that. But they do want to kind of size you up and see what they can get from you, what you're about. So Victoria said, I had one ask me to open a bank account through the ECU, which is digital, wanted my password. They do a lot of them. It's very easy now for people to open bank accounts online. Surprisingly, there are countries that, you're welcome, Jenny, there are countries that have online banking. I could go right now to, and I'll give it just an example. I can go to a bank account, say online in Singapore, and open a bank account. As long as I have my passport, my ID, my information, I can open a bank account online anywhere. Scammers know this, and scammers will open bank accounts and say, oh, honey, I'm going to put money in your account. Open this credit union account, and I'll put $10,000 in for your children. I love you. I love your children. And the truth is, the money is going to come from another victim. They're going to steal money from another victim's bank account, put it into your bank account, and say, honey, I sent you $10,000. Keep $7,000 for your kids. Send the rest on to me. And they're using you as a mule. They're using you to do this wire fraud. And a lot of people are doing it. And a lot of people do fall for, a man who is offering to pay for your kids at school, or who offers to send you money. Oh, honey, here's $5,000. Go buy yourself some new clothes and some jewelry. You look beautiful. And they're like, wow, this is great, because no man in the flesh would actually give me all this money to go shopping. So it's a way to pull at your heartstrings. It's a way to get you to trust. And in reality, you're just being used as a mule. And when the person whose bank account was stolen, the money was stolen, given to you, the bank's going to trace all that, and it's going to go right back to you, and you're going to be the one paying the bank back, not the scammer in Nigeria who, is long gone and who has taken all your money and spent it on whatever he wants to spend it on. So never open a bank account for anybody. And a lot of people, I want to touch on this real quick as well. If you're being scammed, it's a scammer, and they offer to send you money. There are some victims, and it's happened before, that they think they're getting a little bit of revenge because they're getting the money from the scammer, and they're going to take the money and then they're going to run and block the scammer. The truth is, you're taking money from a victim. And we've said this before, a scammer is not going to take, you're welcome, Victoria, is not going to take money out of their own pocket and give it to you. A scammer is a criminal. A scammer is going to take money out of the pocket of an 80-year-old woman who has a credit union account and give it to you. And then if you block that person and say, yeah, I got the money, ha, 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 all you're doing is taking money from another victim. You're not hurting the scammer. Scammer's going to go, oh, well, screw it, move on to a different victim. And that's what happens. So don't ever accept money, because it will trace back to you. And we live in a day and age of digital footprints. So if you think, well, I took that money and I'm going to close the account and I'm going to block them from Facebook, yeah, I got away with it. No, you're not. They're going to find you, your social security number, your ID number, your government ID. They have all of that on your bank account. So they will track you down. So don't think you're winning winning the war by stealing money from a scammer. You're just stealing it from someone just like yourself. Well, hello from Japan. It's great to have you here, and thank you for everyone who's joined us. We've got a quick question from our next person, and it came from Kimberly, and she's a regular on our page. She asked, will you guys branch out into catching online pedophiles? No. And I'll tell you why. That's a different element altogether. Romance scamming and scammers, that's more of our element. That's what we know what to do. To branch into, catching online pedophiles and stuff, that takes a special kind of person to deal with that element of criminal sickness. And we're not about that. We're not about going after people like that. I praise the people that do. There's great sites like Perverted Justice where they go after pedophiles and things like that, and they're trained to do that kind of thing. Anna and myself are not, and we're not going to do that. That's too touchy of a subject for us, and it's actually just too sick for us to have to deal with people like that. I will say one thing about this really quickly. There's a site called Omegle, and it's a chat room. It's a chat and video site. It's similar to Chat Roulette. And I just want to address this really quickly because it was brought up to me recently, and I actually went on the site to see what it was about because I'd never heard of it. Omegle is a site that a lot of kids use, teenagers, early teens and late teens. If you do have kids, I would definitely recommend you don't let them go on that site. It is literally full of pedophiles, completely full of sick pedophiles, and it's spelled O-M-E-A-G-L-E. It's omegle.com. You have young girls, young boys, teenage kids, don't let them go on the site. A lot of sick people on there, and that's one site, one website I will recommend that you do not venture into and do not allow your children to venture into. And again, kudos to people that do hunt the online pedophiles and things like that. They're doing a great job, and we're going to leave it up to people that do that professionally. So hope that answers your question. Our next question we have is from Mike, and why does a fake profile ask if I have a Verizon phone service and want to be added? So that's a great question. They do. Lately, they've been asking why, do you have Verizon? Do you have Verizon, dear? Can you add me? They want to add themselves on your phone plan. And there's a couple reasons for this. For one, Verizon is global. So, people in Nigeria can use Verizon. So, oh dear, add me to your phone plan, and we'll go ahead and get added on there. And you can add a line and, pay for it. And they do. They get added to people's phone plans. Then they take that phone number and they open things like a Facebook page, a dating site page. They open different pages for different reasons. And you get the bill. You get all the information. You get the bills. You get charged for things. They'll download apps. They'll do all kinds of stuff on that. And you need to realize that if some stranger you've never met in person is asking to add you to their phone site or to their, to your phone plan, don't do it. A normal person is not going to ask you to do that. I wouldn't go up to a stranger on the street and say, honey, add me to your phone plan. Get me a phone plan. So if someone's asking you that, don't let them. And also keep in mind, they may ask you for the login details as well. And they can get into those Verizon website login details, and they can go ahead and get your credit card number, your payment information, and then they take that information, your bank account information, whatever you use to pay for your phone, and run with it. So don't allow somebody to be added to your phone plan. That's one of the reasons they ask. They like to do it, and they think it's a free ride. And while you're paying for someone else's phone bill, you're also getting charged and getting your credit card stolen. So don't do it. If anyone asks you, just block them. They're 100% a scammer. Normal people don't ask you to do such a thing. So we've got a couple questions. So Wendy asked, how do scammers find out information about people? Example, got called on a grandparent scam. They had her name, phone number. It's actually really easy, Wendy, surprisingly. There's a couple ways they do it. All information on the internet is free. So let's say, I'll give you an example. Somebody has my phone number. They look it up online, throw it through Google, throw it through search. there's sites like peoplesearch.com, wesearch.com, and it'll actually come up and say, I'll give you an example of fake name. My name's, William Smith. And William Smith comes up with, oh, William Smith lives in Portland, Oregon. He has a relative named Bonnie Smith who lives in Wisconsin. He has a sister named Sally Smith that lives in New York. They take that information and then they put it into search, and they find Sally's number, they find Bonnie's number, they find all relatives' numbers. Everything is searchable online. And it's very easy to piece the puzzles together. Anna and myself have been investigating scammers for years, and you'd be surprised how easily we can find out information about scammers and about people. All of it is searchable, all of it is public. Even if you're not on Facebook, if you're not on social media, all of your information from your phone service, your electrical service, even something as simple as a grocery store saver card, all of that is logged online, whether you realize it or not. So everything you do is logged online. Your social security information, your insurance, all of it is logged in. It's very easy for a scammer to get that information. Most of it is free, and it takes a few minutes just to bounce around the different websites. So that's pretty much how they do it. And also, we want to touch on phone numbers as well. We've had people say to us, and thanks, Wendy, you've been here for a long time with our page. Phone numbers, they're not a reliable source of information. So if you're a victim and you're talking to a man and he's from Florida, and you say to us, he's from Florida, I got a Florida phone number. I searched it online and it belongs to Bob Smith in Ocala, Florida. Well, the truth of the matter is, someone's phone number that was, yesterday was Bob Smith's. In a week, it can be a scammer's Google Voice number. Those numbers change over so quickly, and search sites don't have the time, the resources to update themselves daily. So don't always, rely on a phone number search saying, well, I found who it is. It's Bob Smith that lives on Main Street in Florida. No, it might have been Bob Smith's phone number a week ago or a month ago, but now it's a scammer's Google Voice number. So you have to remember that it's not reliable. It's not set in stone. The information is not set in stone. And one thing I want to touch on real quickly, just a second. It's really super hot here today. Our page, Anna and myself both speak English. We don't speak any other language. We don't have time to translate. So please, if you come to the inbox or if you write on the page, please, Beatrice, please write in English if you need help, because we can't read other languages, and we don't have the time, the manpower to translate, and things get lost in translation. So please do your best to either write in English or use a translator, and we'll try to help you the best we can. But we're not going to go through hundreds of different languages trying to figure out what you're trying to say. All right, we really appreciate it. We want to help as many people as we can, but please, 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 please write in English if possible. So we've got a couple more questions coming out. Mattis wrote, greetings from Denmark. Why do they all want to go to Hangouts? They do, don't they? And we've posted plenty of chats that say, dear, do you have Gmail? What's your Hangout? Let's hang out. And we do like to play with them. We say, oh, we don't hang out anywhere. Hangouts is a great place for scammers because two reasons. Facebook closes down a lot of new profiles. So someone you're talking to on Facebook today that's a fake profile, tomorrow might be gone. However, Hangouts is very hard to get booted off of. Google is very hard to get booted off of. So they isolate victims to Google. It's a way to isolate. It's a way to ensure that they're going to stay with you and you're going to stay with them. And like I said, it's very difficult to get booted off of Google. Plus, they can have all of their victims on one roster. They can have them all on a chat line. It's similar to Yahoo Messenger. They may have 15 victims all down the row, and they can just click on it. They don't have to worry about being booted off or having to show their ID or to be proved. So that's one thing that they do. They do go to the Hangouts, and if someone asks you to go to Hangouts and you've just met them, see that as a huge red flag. Normal people, you have to look at online the same way as you look at it if you were in a bar or club. If a gentleman walked up to you in a nightclub and they said, dear, let's go to the back alley and talk. You wouldn't do it because it's a red flag. See it the same way online. If someone asks you to go to Hangouts and you've only talked to them for 2 seconds, that's a huge red flag. Huge red flag. To answer your questions, say Tommy, I hope I have your name right. International police. The only international police that work across borders is going to be Interpol. We can leave a link, but you know the thing of it is international police, Interpol, they deal with more important things like terrorism, you know, bombings, political problems, and things like that, and groups like that. But it's still worth reporting. It's always worth reporting it to Interpol, because if you think about it, if there's enough reports, they may look at it and say, wow, you know, 40 people have sent this scammer doing wire fraud. Let's look into it. So Interpol is the best place to start. As I said, we'll leave the links to Interpol on our newsfeed later on today, so if you need any help. And we'll also leave links to IC3 as well. So if you do want to file a report, and again, and we can't stress this enough, always file a report. Even if, you know, it may not warrant any arrests, it's good to file, it's good to talk about these things, it's good to get it out there. File reports, get it going. So again, we'll leave the links in the description, and if you need any help, our inbox is always open. Come to our inbox and we're more than happy to help you. Another question, we've had an interesting question. Our next question is from Sandra, and I will read Sandra's. And it's a very interesting and funny question. She says, will you continue to be the old lady? What do you think you accomplish with those kinds of videos? I'm always going to play the old lady. Yes, we will continue to be the old lady. We've had great feedback on being our old woman. We've been criticized by a certain page, and I think it's quite funny because people just entertain themselves with our page and criticize it. But the reason we do the old lady, there's a couple reasons. We do it for fun. We do it because I would rather waste a scammer's time talking to an old lady and being the old lady and Doctor Who and Kyle and all these characters, because I'm wasting a scammer's time. If I can spend 2 hours talking to a Nigerian or Ghanaian scammer who thinks they're going to get money from a fake old woman, I would rather do that than have them actually talk to somebody who would give them money. And so that's why we do it. Another reason, it's good to have a laugh. We can't be serious all the time. Yes, a lot of people are victims of a crime. It's a horrible, horrible crime. It's an emotionally, financially, physically, mentally draining crime. But it's also, you have to heal. And for us to heal and for you to heal, we have to laugh. So that's one of the reasons why we do the video, is to make you laugh. You know, we do serious videos, we do educational videos on our YouTube, our Scamming Scammers YouTube, but we also do fun videos that give you a laugh. And a lot of people have commented that they enjoy the old lady, and I will continue to be her as long as my voice will hold out to do it. So I thank everyone for the positive comments. Another lady asked, when we block the scammers, are we 100% safe? No. Because there's always going to be more scammers. You're going to block a scammer. There's 15 more at your door wanting to get in. So yes, you should continue to block them as they come in. Block the fake profiles. Don't interact with them. Don't play with them. Block them. But there's always going to be more. So we have to be vigilant. It's never going to end. They're never going to stop. They're going to keep coming and coming and coming. So we just have to continue educating, educating your friends, your family, and continue blocking them. And that's the only way to stay safe, is to block them. We can't make them go away. They're never going to quit doing what they're doing. And so we just have to be more educated and just do what we have to do to keep them out. And above all, don't send money. Don't send money. Don't buy gift cards. That's the only way we'll stop them. Just stop doing it. So our next question is from Carol. Is it just Ann and William who do the Facebook page and YouTube, or do you have a team of people who do this? And how do you make money, and why do you do this? Okay, good question. First of all, I'll start by saying Ann and myself are the only 2 people who run this page. We're the only 2 people who run the YouTube channel. We both do it as a team. Nothing is left in our inbox longer than 12 hours. We continue to help people, as much as possible. And as Ann said earlier, we're doing a new thing with auto response. So when you do write to our inbox, you do get an automatic response saying, thank you, we'll get with you as soon as we can. That's just to let you know and acknowledge to you that we've gotten your message. And then we will write back to you when we go through the inbox. So yes, it's just the two of us. We run both pages. We do it because we care about people. That's the only reason. We don't do it for the fame, the fortune, because there is none. We do it because we care about people. We don't make money off of our pages. We don't make money off of any of it. We do it for free. We support ourselves in our own ways. And like I've told many of you before, I work the equivalent of 2 full-time jobs. So I do this in my spare time to help people because I care. And feels the same way. We care about people. We don't want to see someone commit suicide because they sent their life savings to some little Nigerian punk who stole the money. We want to help as many people as we can. We don't want to see people in a bad place. And we also don't want to see people get scammed. If we can stop you from sending money before it happens, we're going to do it. And we're all about education. So we want to get the word out there. We want to educate people. And that's why we do it. No other reason. And no, we don't get rich off of this. We don't make money off of this. We never charge anybody for our services, and we never will. It'll always be free. So that's just to answer your question. Rhonda asked, why are they always in the military? They're not always, but a lot of them are. We've kind of touched on this. A lot of women love military men, and I'm not trying to target anybody. Women love a man in uniform. A lot of women love these hot, ripped military guys, and they want that safety and security of a man in the military. He's going to take care of me. If you're divorced and have kids, he's going to take care of my kids. He's going to do everything. Oh, he's in the military. He's smart. He's wealthy. He's well preserved, morals and all that kind of thing. And I give it up. A lot of military men are very great, honorable people. However, scammers use them for a bad reason. They use them because they know it'll draw a woman in. They can say they're out of the country. They can say, oh, honey, I'm deployed to Nigeria. I need money for food. I'm deployed to Malaysia. I need money for ammunition. You can pay for my leave, but you have to write to the army guy in Nigeria or Ghana to pay for my leave. And the military gives them a great excuse to not be in the country, to say, oh, honey, you want to pay for my leave? You want to come, want me to come and see you? This is how it works. I need an iTunes card for me to call you. I can't Skype with you because I'm in the military and it's forbidden. And we cannot say this enough, and I've said this before. Military men and women who are deployed are able to Skype. They are able to FaceTime. They are given allotted time on the base to contact family via video chat. So if someone is telling you, dear, I can't Skype with you because of secret security reasons, they're full of crap. They're a scammer. Real military men and women can Skype with you. They can video chat. They are allowed. They're not being held prisoner somewhere, and they're not allowed to eat, and they're not allowed to Skype and all that other stuff. It's just crap. Okay, so if you're talking to a military man and he says, oh, honey, I'm deployed to Libya and we're not allowed to video chat due to security reasons and I'm a secret agent, you're talking to a little African scammer more than likely, or a Thai scammer or whatever. You're not talking to the man in the photo with the six-pack abs and the oiled chest. You're talking to this little kid in Nigeria and he's taking you for a ride. So please remember that. And unfortunately, military profiles are huge with scammers. So we've had, if we have 100 inboxes a day, probably 75 of them are, I'm talking to this military man who's deployed to Nigeria. So it's very lucrative for them, unfortunately. So just remember that. Okay. All right. Next question we have is from Nilda. Hello, I'm from the Philippines. Why are some fake profiles so aggressive about you showing your face to them on camera? They are. There are some scammers. And also, really quick before I answer that, with military profiles, I want to back up real quick. Name tags. Always check the name tags on the uniform. If you're talking to somebody and they're wearing a uniform and their name tag says, Smith, but their profile name is Bob Jones, it's a scammer. Okay, no doubt. And some scammers do use the correct name tag on the back on the uniform. So don't let that fool you. Don't let yourself assume that because his name is Bob Smith and his profile is Bob Smith that he's legit. Um, Now, to get back to Nola's question, they do want to see you on camera. A lot of the scammers that are aggressive will say, honey, I want to see you on camera. Open your camera now. If you don't open your camera, you're a fake. You're a scammer. There's a couple reasons they want to do this. There are a lot of people that scam bait, and so they want to make sure that they are talking to that person. When I chat as the old lady, I've had a few that demand that I open my camera right away, or they just go somewhere else. Another reason for this, they want to get you on video. They want you on camera. They want you on camera talking and saying, oh, hello, I love you, it's good to see you, because they can record that and they can use that on another scam. They can take your photos, your video, and all of a sudden, Nilda, you know, you're chatting to a gentleman who's in the Army and he's recording you, but you're not seeing him. He's going to turn around, take all your photos and that video and be Sally Smith and use that video to scam somebody. So keep that in mind. Don't feel forced to video chat with somebody, especially someone you've just met and who refuses to video chat themselves. And again, and we've touched on that a lot. If you're video chatting with somebody and you're on video with them and you're looking at them and they're not moving, or you say to them, honey, wave your right hand, and they don't move, they could be playing a recording. A lot of scammers do that. They'll steal videos and recordings and they'll play it for the victim, and the victim thinks, well, I Skyped with this man. No, you didn't. You just Skyped with a video recording. So always try to question them when they're on camera. If you're on camera with someone, tell them you want them to stand up on command. Or, if you don't want to sound so obvious, and we've touched on this before, tell them, what's that on the wall behind you? And a normal person's going to turn around and look. A scammer isn't going to move because it's a video recording. So there's little tips and tricks you can do to try to see if it's a real recording, and that's one of the best ways to do it. And any legit person, honestly, if I just met somebody and they want to Skype with me and they had said to me, could you stand up and wave your right hand? I'd do it for them, just so I can prove to you, look, I'm real. I'm legit, But a scammer won't be able to do that. So Brada touched on, it's always a red flag when they misspell words. It can be, yeah. It depends. There's a lot of scammers too, and a lot of them are well educated, and they will fool people with their perfect spelling and things like that. But I will say that soldiers, for example, we're going to touch on this really quickly. A soldier is well educated. A soldier who's in the U.S. Army is not going to be picked up by other nations. So in other words, like if you're in the U.S. Army, you're not going to be in the UK Army all of a sudden. And we've had a lot of scammers say, oh dear, I'm from the US, I'm in the UK Army, but right now I'm deployed to Nigeria and I'm in the UK Army. They don't switch nations. You're in the US Army, you're a US citizen, that's what you're in. You're not going to switch nations, and a lot of them do misspell. There's a lot of keywords, and we've talked about this. Dear Queen, M instead of I am, they say M Soldier Smith. Always look for those grammatical errors, those spelling errors. It's a huge red flag, and many victims have been, taken for a ride, and they say, gosh, I was talking to this guy, and he was saying M U.S. soldier, M God-fearing, M, and it's a scammer. So yeah, a lot of them do misspell their words, but a lot of times too, you have to remember that a lot of our victims, and I'd say probably 45 to 50% of our victims are from non-English speaking countries. So we have ladies and our friends from the Philippines, from Thailand, from Romania, from Czech Republic, wherever you're from, that English is not your first language. They don't notice the misspelled words because English is not their first language. So they don't notice that, Bob Smith is messing up on his words and not using a sentence correctly because that person themselves are struggling with the English language, so they assume that it's okay. So just remember that too. A lot of people will say, how could you fall victim to that? You can't even spell. Well, a lot of victims are from places like Poland, places like Romania, where they don't speak English and they don't notice, or they do speak English, but they're not very fluent. And that's a lot of the ways that people become victims is because of, things like that. And like I said, the majority of our victims don't speak English, or English is their second language. So please remember that as well. I mean, and you should never make fun of victims, because a lot of victims don't understand the English language, and it's not their fault. You know? So keep that in mind. So I've got a couple more questions. Yeah, and a lot of them, you know, they make up stories. The stories sometimes are so ridiculous, and we do make fun of it. Like we say, the wife was in a car crash. She died during childbirth. My ex ran off with my best friend, and you know, every story is always sad, and that's to pull at the heartstrings. That's to, you know, to get you to feel sorry for them, and that's one of the things that they do. They always have these sad stories. So it just depends. But, you know, there's always a story. There's always a sad thing that happens. And so keep that in mind. If you're talking to somebody, and really, if you meet somebody in person, and you know, you just met them, and they say to you, "Oh, hi, dear. It's nice to meet you. My wife died of cancer 3 years ago. I have my only son who's abandoned in the nanny school in Nigeria, and am an oil worker," you would walk away from that person. You would be like, "Nah, you're weird." So you need to do that when you're online as well. If someone comes up to you and they say, "My name is Bob, and my wife died, and this happened," and walk away from them. A normal person doesn't pour their heart out to you in the first 5 minutes of a chat, and they're certainly not going to tell you about their dead wife and their poor abandoned child and all that kind of stuff. So there's always some kind of excuse, and so always keep that in mind when you're talking to somebody. Don't let them pull at your heartstrings with these sad sob stories. If it sounds like something that came out of a movie, then it's probably a scammer. So, and yes, people do steal other people's YouTube videos. Paula said that. I'll touch on that really quickly. We've had people steal our stuff off of our page. We have people that will actually steal everything we write, take our name off of it, and then post it to another anti-scam page or page and say they wrote it themselves. And you know, it's sad. We actually feel sorry for people that do that, because if they're too stupid to write their own stuff, then maybe they shouldn't be online. So yeah, we are aware of that. It happens quite often. People steal our stuff and they put it in groups, and they say, "Look what I wrote. I'm such a good anti-scam advocate." No, you're a thief, and you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you just steal other people's stuff, and that's really sad on your point. So, but you know, it's just the way it is. People steal stuff all the time. It's like that in music. It's like that in movies. It's like that with creativity. People that have no brain steal other people's stuff, and that's how it works. So, but we are aware of it. So thank you for letting us know. So another question we have: is there any way social media pages can stop people from Nigeria from being on them, or isolate them to only within their country? You know, we'd love to think that, you know, we could isolate West Africa and not allow them to come online and social media. Maybe they could only socialize with each other on like Nigeria Facebook. But the unfortunate part of that is there's a lot of great people in the world, and there's a lot of great Nigerians and a lot of great Ghanaians who deserve having social media, and we can't ban them. We can't stop people from going on social media. We can't, you know, blame a whole country for a group of bad apples, and it's not right. You know, like our page, we can ban people from Nigeria from coming to the page, but all they do is change their IP address, and it's really quick and easy to do, and they're back on the page. So no, there is no way to ban people from countries from a page. And really, we can't punish a whole nation because of, you know, scammers. So unfortunately, no. I mean, it's kind of a funny thought, and we could just have Nigerians talk to other Nigerians, but we can't be that way, because there's a lot of great people that are Nigerian. And you know, I'm personally friends with Nigerians and people from Ghana that are great, hardworking people. So we can't lump them all into one basket, unfortunately. And the truth is, with Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg is reaching out to Africa to employ people from places like Nigeria, places like Ghana, to work for Facebook. He's trying to create jobs for these people, which, right or wrong, yes, they do need jobs, but should it be on a social media aspect? Probably not. But Facebook does sympathize with them, and so you know, unfortunately, there's nothing we can really do about that. You know, people always say to us, "Oh, these damn Nigerians, they should get a job." Well, the truth of the matter is there are not a lot of jobs in Nigeria. It's a struggling country, and a lot of them do come online to scam. That doesn't make it okay, doesn't make it right, but they do it. But like I said again, we can't be racist, we can't be hateful, we can't lump all Nigerians, all Ghanaians into that same basket, because there's a lot of wonderful, intelligent people. And Nigeria as a whole, a lot of Nigerians are extremely intelligent. It's just unfortunate that some are using their intelligence for the lesser good, and it probably will never stop. So, but yeah, it's a nice thought to isolate countries, but it's not going to work. Next question we have is from Pamela. Pamela asked, why are all the fake profiles kids with a nanny or in boarding school? Well, they are, aren't they? Little Timmy's always in boarding school, or little Esther is always with a nanny. It's a way to isolate the child. A lot of times, the scammers will have you write to their child, and you're actually just writing to the scammer. It's a good way to keep the child away. Pull at your heartstrings and say, "Oh, little Timmy's in boarding school all alone while I'm working on an oil rig," or "Little Timmy is, away with the nanny and he's so lonely he needs a mother." And unfortunately, they use that to pull at your heartstrings. They also use that as a ploy to get you to send money. They will say, "Oh, Timmy's birthday's next week and he's in boarding school in Nigeria. You could send the money to the teacher." And people do. They send money to the teacher thinking it's to the child. So they do that. They do it, like I said, to pull at the heartstrings or make you feel bad. Say, "Oh, this poor kid needs a mother," and then they fall for it. Mary asked, couldn't you make your pages private? And then you might have, no, because a private page doesn't help victims. There's so many people with these private little, groups, and these groups don't help victims. So if our page wasn't public, and we do ban people from our page every day, our ban list is almost as long as our fan list. But if we kept our group private, let's say Sally Smith, who just got scammed, is online searching for help, and she comes across a group that's locked down private, and she doesn't know who belongs to, what if they can help her or anything. Having a group public, a community page public, we're not a group by any means, we're a community page, gives people the opportunity to come in and get help. It'd be no different than running a business and having, like, if you had a police station and you kept that police station closed and fenced off and didn't allow anyone to come in for help, what good would you be? And that's how we feel about it. We're open so people can get the help they need. We're open so people can read our notes, can read everything. A lot of these private groups, and you know what? Some of them are probably all right. We're not in any groups. These private groups, they want to know your name, your personal information. They want to go through your friends list. They want to know who you are before you can even get help. And by the time you go through the process, you don't want help. You're screwed. And so there's no point in having a private group, because we're trying to help stop this from happening before it happens. People that are in private groups have already become victims. People that come to our page, we've had, if we get 500 inboxes a week, we probably stop 50 to 100 of them from sending money. But a private group's not going to do that. You're going to have to join and go through all this BS before you even get into the group. So we're open for people to come to. We're a shelter for people to come into and get help. So that's why we don't make it private. And we do ban scammers from the page. We ban people every day from this page for various reasons. But yeah, we do ban scammers. They do get banned. So Paula, you applaud Facebook for quickly removing profiles. They do remove profiles, but and that's another thing. It's so controversial. People report fake profiles, and that's fine. If you want to report a fake profile, you can report fake profiles till your fingers fall off. I don't care. But keep in mind that there's no reason to celebrate if a fake profile gets removed, because the scammer just turns around and makes 5 more. And a lot of people have this misconception that if we report a fake profile, it'll get rid of the scammer. No, it doesn't get rid of the scammer. It just gets rid of the fake profile. The scammer comes back, or the scammer already has 30 fake profiles. If you were to type in John Smith, U.S. Army, there's 200,000 fake profiles with that name. The scammer just comes back. You're welcome, Mary. The scammer just comes back with a new profile. And any victims that were on that previous profile, any victims that we might be able to help or whatever have been isolated to Hangouts, have been isolated to, WhatsApp and to email. So they're gone. Any victims we might have been able to help are gone. Any information that we might have been able to get for the scammer is gone. It's lost. And remember, scammers are leaving their real photos open more and more often. So please, and I can't say this enough, if you go to a profile and the guy's name is Bob Smith and he's in the U.S. Army and his profile picture is this ripped up Army dude with his gun and his helmet, and then the next photo you look at is some little African kid with a $100 bill hanging out of his mouth, that's the scammer. That's the person that you're talking to. And so many victims have brought us profiles and they say, I didn't know he was fake. Really? Really? He's got 1,500 Nigerian likes, 300 Nigerian friends, and his second photo next to the Army man is an African kid with money hanging out of his mouth, and you didn't know he was fake. Do your homework. Please do your homework. It's so upsetting for us to see people that bring these profiles and say, oh, I had no idea. Really? Yeah, you did. And you need to look at these things. Don't look at a hot guy's photo and start drooling and going crazy over him and throwing yourself at him, and don't investigate the profile. The profile is going to have clues. And that's another thing, URLs. We see this so often. People go, I don't know if he's fake. His name is Bob Smith and he's in the U.S. Army, and his URL is Obaganga Oyewale Big Money Boss. And we look and say, are you serious? And people will come back to us and say, well, how do you know they're fake? Look at the URL. The URL is at the top, and it'll say facebook.com/ and then that's the URL. It'll say facebook.com/ Big Money Baller Nigeria Boy. And the profile name is Bob Smith, U.S. Army. That's right there is all the information you need to block that profile. It'll 100% be a fake. No legit Army man is going to be named Big Baller Money Boy Nigeria, but a scammer is. So, and they are using their real profiles. So their URLs are going to be Paul Oyewale Smith, and the name on the profile is Bob Jones, U.S. Army. That's a scammer using their real profile with a real phone number, and they've just changed the name. So please look for all the clues. Don't just look at a photo and go, oh my God, an Army man, and don't look at everything. And that's how people become victims, and it's really sad. And people don't want to listen. And we try really hard, but some people they don't listen. And they want to believe that they're in love with the Army man, and they're not. So look for the clues. Look for the red flags. If you have red flags, block the person. Don't even question yourself. Just block them. So we've got 2 more questions, and we're going to wrap this up because it's going for quite a while. And if you have any more questions, our inbox is always open. And we will upload this to our YouTube channel, Scamming Scammers, after it's done. So if you missed it, you can review it there. Question came from Thomas. What is this about money flipping profiles, Bitcoins, and binary trading? We're seeing more and more of these profiles that are Bitcoin sellers. And we've kind of talked about this in the past. Bitcoins, I'll start with Bitcoins. Bitcoin is online currency. You can buy Bitcoins through legit trading companies. There's only very few companies that do it. There's one in China, Japan, there's one in Sweden. Go to a legit company if you want to buy online currency. Personally, it's not something I would ever do. It's digital currency. It's not currency you can hold in your hand. There's a lot of profiles that claim they will get Bitcoins for you for a cheap price. They'll say, oh, honey, I can get you 5 Bitcoins for $200. Send me a Western Union and I'll get it for you. That couldn't be further from the truth. A legit Bitcoin, if you want to buy one, and you can look on a trading site right now, they're thousands of dollars. I've seen them go up as high as $10,000 for a Bitcoin. They're not cheap. And it's not an investment that you or I or the everyday working person is going to want to make. Bitcoins are something that rich people do. It's something that people that are more into investing and trading do. It's not something for Bob who works down at the pizza place that wants to get involved in it. It's not a thing for you. You're going to get scammed. And if someone's offering you a Bitcoin for a couple $100, you're getting scammed. Simple. There's no such thing as buying a Bitcoin for a couple $100. That's like someone coming up to you and offering you a brand new Corvette for $500. You're going to get scammed. So don't buy Bitcoins. Money flipping, there's profiles online that you'll see a hot, attractive woman with $500 in her hand. And she'll say, send me $250. I'll flip it for you at Western Union. I work at Western Union. I'll give you $500 back. It's kind of like an online pyramid scheme. And yes, people do flip money. People do Western Union transfers. They do fraudulent transfers. But if someone is offering you $500 for $200, just run away. Money isn't free. Money isn't easy. Big money does not come that easy. You have to work for your money. So if someone's offering to flip money for you, what they're doing is they're flipping your money, they're grabbing your money, and then they're running away with it. That's how they're flipping you off. They're not flipping your money. So don't send money to someone that can promise you big money. Binary trading is another one I'll touch on real quickly, and then we're going to close this up. Binary trading is basically it's an option which it's stocks that are guaranteed to pay off. It's very complicated, and there are people that do binary trading. Forex.com, eTrade.com does do binary trading. But if someone comes to you on Facebook and says, I do binary trading, dear, I can give me $100 and I can flip that $100 into a binary trade and make you 10,000. Just block them. There's no way, again, to make easy money. And yeah, you can make money on the stock market, but you need to have an E-Trade. You need to have a legit company like E-Trade, like Forex. Have someone that knows what they're doing and work with them in doing binary trading. Don't trust Bob Smith or Tom Jones from online with one profile photo and a photo of a car and guarantee to make you money, because you won't. It's a scam. And anyone that does binary trading on Facebook, Bitcoin selling, money flipping, all of them are scams. Just block them. Don't waste your money. So we've got one more written question. And then if anyone has questions, write them now, because we're going to close this. The last question we have is from Nancy. And she wrote, do stolen photos circulate and some become less popular and others become more popular? Absolutely. We've seen in years past, and this is very, very popular. Hugh Hubertus, Jeffrey Miller, Aaron Ramos, Stuart James, who refuses to close his profile down so people keep stealing his photos. All of these people, their photos were very popular 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, you would see 30 Hugh Hubertus profiles in a day. They're changing. They trade through photos, kind of like, you used to trade baseball cards. Now you've got Captain Thomas Lugard. His photos are very popular. Dr. Pinto Gnomes, Dr. Samadhi. Those are the hot ones right now. They're called the hot photos. They're very popular. They're being used by a lot of scammers. So yes, they do. They do trade them. They do fade in and out. We had George Cosma's photos being used for a number of years. His have kind of settled down, and now, like I said, we've got Dr. Pinto. We've got Dr. Samadhi. We've got, Christian Siosen, the Romanian police commissioner. His photos are being circulated more often again. They go through cycles. And remember, you can always Google a photo. And you're right, Mark Gervais, his are used quite a bit too. You can Google a photo, and people that are more popular, like the Stuart Jameses, the Hugh Hubertuses, the Dr. Samadhis, those are going to be the more popular ones that are going to come up on Google search. But keep in mind, if a photo doesn't come up on Google search, it doesn't mean that it's a legit profile. Scammers are also stealing more unknown photos. When I bait scammers on POF and tagged in all those profiles, they're stealing profiles of your neighbor next door. So your neighbor next door is not going to come up on Google search. So just remember that. They are using, some scammers are getting smarter. They're using unknown stolen photos. And so if you see a photo that you've never seen before, don't assume that it's legit. Just, always look at what they're telling you, listen to what they're saying to you, and go from there. Because they're always coming up with new photos and photos we've never seen. In fact, some of our albums have photos that have never been used before, and they were fake profiles. So, all right, if anyone has any questions, write them now. Otherwise, we're going to close this. We'll probably do another Q&A towards the end of July. We're trying to do one a month. Depending on how things go, if you guys want more Q&As, let us know. We'll do one in a couple weeks. But if not, I hope everybody that is here has a great summer. Stay safe. Our friends in the other side of the world, stay warm. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Remember, you can find this video on our YouTube channel, Scamming Scammers. And if you have any questions, our inbox is always open. We're always here. It's just the two of us, and we do answer every single inbox that we get. Just bear in mind that, we do get sometimes 100 people a day, so it takes a little time to go through. But again, thanks everyone for coming. Stay safe. Keep your money to yourself. Don't give it to the scammers. And like I said, if you have any questions, we're always here for you. Until then, stay safe. Have a great summer. And we'll see you next time.